You know, sometimes when you're out and about, you would go shopping or you'll be out doing something, and a specific item or product will call your name basically, and it's almost like this mystical experience. I don't quite know how to explain it. You'll have never heard of this one specific product before, but it's almost like it's calling your name from the shelf. And I had that experience recently at Chemist Warehouse when I went there one night after work with my partner, and we just finished fueling up the car. So I was just bumming around inside of Chemist Warehouse, and I wasn't going to buy anything. Like, I literally didn't intend on buying anything, but I walked near the shelf and like my vision just went to this fragrance in particular, Abercrombie and Fitch Authentic Moment. And I knew in that moment that I had to try it out and talk about it on my YouTube channel. There was just something about it, and like I said it just before, I can't quite explain it, but I needed to buy it and talk about it. Keep in mind that at the time I hadn't smelt this before. I knew literally nothing about the fragrance, but there was just something I needed to buy it, and I needed to wear it, and I needed to talk about it. And that brings me to right here and right now, where I'm going to be talking about Abercrombie & Fitch Authentic Moment for a little bit, and why you should or shouldn't buy the fragrance. So if that sounds good to you, let's get into the video.
Die Verbrennung der
There are a couple of things in particular I wanted to talk about regarding Authentic Moment, and the first of which is that it's an incredibly attractive fragrance. Seeing as how tomorrow is the first day of winter here in Australia for 2023, this is an ultimate winter fragrance. It's warm, it's spicy, it's lingering, it leaves a beautiful cinnamon forwards trail when you're walking along. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, and this is going to be a contentious point with a lot of people, is that even though Abercrombie & Fitch Authentic Moment was calling to me from the shelf, the second that I unwrapped it and smelt it for the first time, I could smell Hugo Boss Bottled. Now this is Boss Bottled Intense, but it smells exactly the same as Boss Bottled anyway. Apple, cinnamon, and woods. That's what I got straight away, and the second I smelled it I was like, oh, that's Boss Bottled. Now, there are a lot of people out there that understandably dislike clones. Even though this is half the price of Boss Bottled, there are still a lot of people I should say, that dislike clone fragrances. And if that's you, I doubt this is going to change your mind, even at, you know, $50 Australian versus $89 Australian for Boss Bottled. But bear with me a moment. Even though you may dislike clone fragrances, having a fragrance that smells identical to Boss Bottled, it's not necessarily a bad thing. This fragrance, just want to spray it. Even though the atomizer isn't fantastic, the design, the appearance of it, the way it's presented, the presentation as a whole, it's very attractive. From the textured box and packaging, to the almost Tom Ford-esque bottle design, and the magnetic cap. There's a lot to love about these new Abercrombie & Fitch fragrances. The highlight of Authentic Moment is undoubtedly the lingering, rich, spicy cinnamon note, and how it plays with the fresh apple note in the opening and the woody notes in the background. It's a professional, warm scent, but it's also inviting and playful, suitable for a man of any age, and it's got so much to love that I imagine this to be the sort of scent your girl would steal from you to wear for herself. It's that kind of fragrance, warm, spicy, and there's so much to love about it. Wearing this is an absolute pleasure, especially at the low price of $50 Australian. Ultimately, I can't come down too harshly on fragrances like Authentic Moment, because it's these sorts of clones that give teenagers and younger people in particular the opportunity to smell like something that might otherwise be outside of their price range, outside of their current budgets. It's a good thing, ultimately, that more people can have access to great smelling fragrances, even if they are clones. All of these Abercrombie & Fitch fragrances are presented in a slightly luxurious way that, far exceeds their $50 price point. I don't know how they can afford to have a fragrance that's so well designed. Using these Abercrombie & Fitch fragrances, for example, I still find it hard to believe that fragrances that only cost $50 Australian can be so well designed, packaged and presented. They are luxurious looking fragrances and they far exceed their $50 price point. They look fantastic, they smell fantastic, and in my opinion, they definitely have a place in the market. So if you're hesitating to smell them just because Abercrombie & Fitch is seen as a particularly youthful brand, I would say go out and try some anyways. There's a lot of different Abercrombie & Fitch fragrances out there. Not all of them have the same packaging and presentation, but the majority of them from what I've seen do. And if you're somebody that doesn't mind spending $50 Australian on a fragrance that has excellent presentation, I would recommend going out there and trying some. These fragrances are not going to win any awards in originality, but in terms of having an attractive fragrance that performs decently and is presented in a very luxurious way, I would say they're well worth checking out. So if you guys have ever tried an Abercrombie & Fitch fragrance before, let me know in the comments below. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. And until the next video, my name is Aussie Marcel, and I'll catch you guys around.